Hello, I am Jackson Steinwall. I am a bass player, and I am the host of the Big Fam Jam. This is Arts from Home. Thank you for watching, and thank you very much for contributing. This is a great cause, and we hope you're having a good time in quarantine. I want to talk today about jamming. There's a lot to talk about, so I'm going to try to keep it quick, and I'm going to try to keep it concise. Just focus on a few ideas. I would love to keep the conversation going and hear what you have to say, so send me a message or comment down below. Love to keep this conversation going. But let's talk about jamming. And let's talk about, I think, the most important thing, and that's rhythm. Rhythm is such a fundamental part of our existence. Our heart beats in rhythm. Our lungs expand in rhythm. When we're hearing waves that have peaks and valleys. When we're seeing different lengths. There's patterns everywhere, and every pattern is rhythm in some way. When we speak, the rhythm in which we talk is super important for staying captivating, expressing what we need to express, and having it received the way we need it to. So rhythm is important, and it's something that we all have to have a relationship with, whether we like it or not. And so that's why I think it's so important to improvise and to jam and play music, because it's such a playful way of exploring and experimenting with rhythm and experimenting with your own expression of rhythm. So that's why I think jamming is important. But the important concept I want to talk about today is listening. Now, I'm going to split into two categories and try to give an exercise that you can do to help both. So the first one is unconscious listening, and the second one is conscious listening. So unconscious listening, or peripheral listening, is essentially big picture. I feel like we are good focus machines. When we are seeing a very narrow band of focus, but our peripheral data is still being taken in by our eyes. So I can look at this computer screen and know that there are cars going on the road right out this window. Know that there's paintings on this wall without actually having to look or focus on them. But I can still accept that data. I can still expand my vision and influence my reactions and my thoughts on my environment based on not just my focus, but on everything that is perceivable around me. And the same is true with your hearing. And when you're playing with a group of people, that kind of listening is so helpful and really gives everyone gives you a really conscious awareness of the space that's there. So this is something that I think is important to practice and exercise, this kind of expansion of your senses. So I would encourage everyone every day to find a space where you can just listen. Just try to listen to everything that's going on. You know, like right now I'm speaking, and I can hear the echo of the room as I speak. I can hear the hum of the computer. I can hear the sounds of the cars. There's a bus. There's a car. There's a dog barking. It's important to be able to just expand, to take what you're focusing on and allow yourself to focus on that as well as intaking the peripheral. So that's what I would suggest. Just every day, just try to listen. And it's not hard, but it'll do wonders, I think. Now, I'm going to talk about conscious listening. Now, I found a really cool example of this in a YouTube video. Victor Wooten, who's one of the world's best bass players, is teaching a young bass prodigy named Lil Asmar at a music store. Victor Wooten asked him to play Higher Ground, or asked him to play a song, and he plays Higher Ground. Victor Wooten says something that I think is important to talk about. He says two things. The first one, he says, "Okay, Lil Asmar," when he finished, "you're a great bass player. You passed my bass player test," which is important because the bass player test is easy. You don't have to be a showy, flashy bass player. You know, just like you don't have to be a showy, flashy anything, guitar player, drummer. The ideal bass player, I always tell students, just does this. You know, it could do that all night. Leaves lots of room, and is still going to be a fun way to play. But you pass the bass player test, and that's fine. That just means that he's ready to accept a more musical lesson from Victor Wooten. And what he does next, I think, is really, really interesting. He asks Lil Asmar if he has any brothers or sisters. He said yes. He says, yes, I have a younger brother. He says, do they play any instruments? He's like, yeah, my brother plays drums. And he says, okay, I want you to play this again. But I want you to, first, I want you to do this. Imagine your brother playing drums right here in front of us. Imagine he's here. And imagine him playing drums. And really try to listen and hear if you can hear him playing drums. Just using your imagination, do that right now. You can hear the drummer play. That's not higher ground, but let's just say he's doing. You can hear that in your head, just like you can hear yourself speak in your head sometimes. And then he asked him to play the song. And he said, what I want you to do is I want to imagine your brother. I want your brother to play first, and I want you to join in, to follow your brother. And what happens is the young bass player plays, and it's so much smoother. The feel is deeper. It's just way more musical. And it's because he's listening. But he's not actually listening to anything. He's just listening to his own imagination. And that, I think, is a really important lesson, because he's consciously listening to the drummer. But because he's consciously listening to the drummer in his mind, he's not focused on being a great bass player or impressing Victor Wooten. He's just focused on the drummer in his mind. And it's causing him to be much more musical. So listening isn't about physically listening. It's just about understanding how to concentrate and understanding how to enter a space where, you don't have to worry about what you're doing, because if you listen to even just your own mind, your own imagination of what feels good to you, it will come out more musical. So I think that's something that we can all practice. Practice listening to the drummer that's inside of us. Let them play first, and then join in when we want to practice. Anyway, that's my time. There's lots more I think we could talk about. I would love to keep this conversation going, like I said. So message me at Jackson Steinwall. Follow us at Big Fam Jam. There's a GoFundMe for Arts for Home. It's supporting some great causes, and so please donate. Thank you. Hope you have a good time, and I cannot wait to play with you guys once this whole thing is blown over. Anyway, I love you to bits. Keep safe and keep on rocking. Okay, bye-bye.